We all saw this coming, and now it finally happened. After weeks of frustration and growing concern from fans and analysts alike, the Blue Jays have officially placed Anthony Santander on the injured list. And his replacement is highly touted prospect Alan Roden getting his second shot at the major leagues. Now, concerning Anthony Santander, this move was long overdue. Whenever you saw this guy at the plate, you could tell something wasn't right. Whether it be physical or mental, it was time for Anthony Santander to hit the IL. But we all saw the signs many weeks ago, so what took so long? And what does this mean for Anthony Santander and the Blue Jays moving forward? What's up, everybody, and welcome back to Blue Jays Today. In this one, we're going to be breaking down the latest move from the Blue Jays where they put Anthony Santander on the IL and they brought up Alan Roden. We're going to break down what the hell was going on with Anthony Santander and whether or not he's fixable. Before we get into it, though, I encourage you guys to hit that like button and subscribe to Blue Jays Today if you enjoy Blue Jays news and content. All right, let's first flash over to the initial tweet by the Toronto Blue Jays breaking down this move. So, Alan Roden called up to AAA and will be active tonight. That, of course, was yesterday. And Anthony Santander, with a left shoulder inflammation, was placed on the 10-day IL. Now, we also know he was dealing with a hip issue, so that could be also a subtle thing, too, that he's trying to recover from. But the main thing is that left shoulder. And like I said, guys, we've been screaming at the top of our lungs here at Blue Jays Today to please get this done, and it's long overdue. And honestly, it could even be a bad thing that he's going on the IL this late. Let's break it down first. Anthony Santander, when he openly comes out and admits a few days ago that he literally has the shoulder and hip issues and he's limiting his big swings. That's the problem. Look, when the Blue Jays, they sign Anthony Santander, you're signing him to get big swings off, to hit home runs. That was the whole point of bringing Anthony Santander here. But no, when he's coming out here saying, yeah, actually, I'm going to start swinging less just to make more contact. We already have a lineup full of those guys. We didn't pay you to make contact. We paid you to hit 40 home runs this year. We're not going to get that this year, most likely, because of this injury. But we need you to not do that. So that should have been a clear sign for the Blue Jays. Okay, it's time to hit the IL. And when you could see too, like talking about those big swings, you could really see what it looked like from his bat speed compared to last year. This is him right now as a lefty in 2024. You can see the average bat speed was up there, 72.7 miles per hour, faster than in what it was this year. From the left side. It was almost a whole mile per hour difference. Now, that might not sound like a lot, but it is. When you're getting less speed off of your bat, even 1 mile per hour on average, that can make a large difference. And we saw it too. Look at the expected numbers for Anthony Santander. Look at the hard hit rate at 40th percentile. That's below a league average. Everything else, expected slugging, bottom 10th percentile, bottom 5th percentile. And then you had the expected batting average at 1. I mean, he was already not that good of a batter anyways in terms of the average, but everything is much lower compared to last year. Look at that. Everything in the above the average, up in the 73rd, 79th percentile, and the batting run value overall, 94th percentile in all of baseball. So clearly something was wrong with Anthony Santander. And another thing too is, when he wasn't healthy, well, the opposing pitchers were saying, well, I'm going to give you my best fastball and see if you can hit it. The fastball percentage that he's been seeing this year is through the roof, man. 60% last year compared to 63 this season. And the reason why, because he literally couldn't hit the fastball. I mean, a -8 run value and a batting average against of 135. The big thing here, of course, is the slugging for Anthony Santander. That is super low. And honestly, I think it's at a career low for Anthony Santander. So obviously, this is the right move for him. He wasn't doing good when he was on the field. And in fact, he was hurt. And the problem with keeping a guy who's hurt on the field, who is getting paid a lot of money, who has something to prove, is he's going to probably re-aggravate or worsen the injury. We got a little report here from Keegan Matheson talking about the injury. He had an MRI on his shoulder yesterday, so I guess that was 2 days ago at this point. And the Blue Jays are still evaluating whether something happened to make his injury worse after the initial injury. Because when you have a guy trying to force things, and he's limiting his swings, he's changing his mechanics to accompany the injury, you might even make it even worse or create a secondary issue like we saw with the hips. He could get a cortisone shot, could get some rest, but that's to be decided for now. They didn't want to play through the injury anymore. And this is where I've been screaming, you got to put this guy in the IL because, yeah, you may have just made it worse for Santander, and now you have a situation where you might not see him. It could be even more than 2 weeks. It could be a month. It could be 2 months. We don't have a timetable at this point, and that's a huge problem. So listen, first things first, I want to say I still enjoy the Anthony Santander signing. I mean, we popped bottles, we screamed, we loved it. He's going to be here for a few more years after this year. So I hope he gets healthy, and I hope he gets better, because the Blue Jays, they do need a lot more thump in that lineup, right? They do. Right? So I'm not giving up on this guy, and I hope you guys don't either. Hey guys, time for a quick shout out to the sponsor of this video. Hit your picks and knock it out of the park with Betway. Scan the QR code down below or click the link in the description to join the action. Available in Ontario only, must be 19 years older to participate, and guys, please bet responsibly. Now, back to the content. Now, moving on to Alan Rodin, who is coming up and replacing Anthony Santander for the time being. This is a good move. Alan Rodin, highly touted coming out of spring training by Ross Atkins, got his shot at the beginning of the year and wasn't so good. You know, this year he had a batting average of 178, the OPS of 522, but granted, it was only 73 at-bats, right? And only 83 plate appearances, 84 plate appearances for Alan Rodin. I mean, look, this is going to happen. Sometimes the guys come at the big leagues. It's a very small sample size. We don't know what we're going to see from Alan Rodin. So you send him back down, you bring up some other guys, and like Addison Barger, who's killing it right now. And you can see in AAA so far for Alan Rodin, he's actually been very good. In the also 83 plate appearances, he has a batting average of 361 and an OPS over 1,000. So clearly, he's one of those players, they call them the quad A players, where he's too good for AAA, but yet needs to prove it at the big league level. And again, this is good for Alan. He's got about 2 weeks, and like I was saying, maybe even up to a month, maybe even a month and a half, 2 months, depending on the severity of the injury to Anthony Santander. But, you know, Alan Rodin's kind of getting the Barger treatment this year, where he's going to be up, he's going to be down, because when I look at this Blue Jays roster, when Anthony Santander comes back, I don't know who to send down. Unless there's another injury, of course, to the outfield corps, I don't know who to send down. Because when I look at this team, I'm looking at an outfield grouping that is pretty solid. Like Nathan Lucas, I've been kind of in this guy's corner. This guy's putting up a quiet 788 OPS. And when was the last time the Blue Jays had a guy in the 789 spot with a 788 OPS? Then you have guys like Miles Straw giving you great defense, great glove, and an OPS of 703. Again, how many times have you seen that for the Blue Jays? Not that many, right? Jonathan Clase is probably the dude that would go down in a Anthony Santander move if, of course, Alan Rodin proves that he's got another shot. It's going to be tough for him. It's a big challenge because you are going to be going up and down quite a lot, probably this year, unless you start proving that you're Major League ready. Big thing for Alan Rodin is he's got to be able to focus on one pitch and hit that one pitch. It felt like when he first came up, he was a little bit in between, sitting fastball, sitting curveball, not getting his best swings off. For Alan, it's, keep it simple, man. Pick a pitch you like, and hit it. But guys, that is the latest move from the Toronto Blue Jays. Honestly, thank you, Blue Jays, for finally getting it done. I'm honestly kind of disappointed it didn't happen earlier, and I hope for Anthony's sake and the Blue Jays' sake that the injury isn't worse because he's been playing through it. Guys, let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, guys, go Jays go.